Welcome to the Self Revolution podcast. This is your weekly reminder to wake up to who the fuck you really are. I'm your host, Breanna Rae Blaney, and it is truly my honor to guide you on this journey of self-revolution and evolution. Join me as one by one, we collectively wake up to create a more harmonious, enlightened, and fulfilled world. Welcome, I'm Breanna Rae Blaney, and I'm so excited to be here with you today in my living room. I have to be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure what this is going to turn into or what it will become, but I do know that I am so excited and just feeling so called to have radical, real, and honest conversations with you. I want to have conversations that really spark and invite in this curiosity around who you are, why you're here, and how you function, and ultimately how you can embody your limitless nature and potential in life. And how collectively, when we all do that, when we all get in touch with ourselves, we really can create this self-revolution, this self-evolution that not only supports ourselves, but ultimately helps us as a species collectively evolve into a more harmonious, enlightened, and fulfilled world. I want to have real conversations that really span the full spectrum of the human experience. I know that some of the most transformative times in my life have come from places of deep pain and challenge, and that those experiences are some of the things that really allow us to really see who we actually are and how we're going to show up. And through that challenge creates this portal for transformation. And simultaneously, we can also honor and really be with the love and the joy of life and this miracle that it is that we are living and that we're in this world today, and just the beauty that is constantly surrounding us. And that by being able to really have this space to have some of these radically raw, real conversations, we can more fully understand what it really means to be human and how we can evolve ourselves to this deeper and I'd say more enlightened place. I think if we're honest with ourselves, many of us are not really living. We are asleep and we are kind of just moving through life just as it passes us by. We're not really making conscious decisions and creating our lives. We're in the passenger seat and we're allowing life to happen to us versus actually putting ourselves in the driver's seat and creating our lives from that place. And I don't think that this is, our fault by any means. If I reflect on my own experience, I grew up in a beautiful home in so many ways, yet often we are not really educated around how to navigate this thing called life. We're not educated around how we function as human beings, around who we really are, and we are constantly exposed to these standard paths, these standard ways of living, particularly in the modern world, these set things that we have to achieve to belong or to succeed. And it can be really challenging to tune out all of that noise, the noise of the media and social media and our parents' expectations and our friends' expectations, to actually choose a life that is more supportive for you, that is aligned with who you really are and the direction down which you want to head. So instead of making those constant conscious choices, often we are suppressing who we really are. We're suppressing what's actually innate to us. We're suppressing our skill set and our talent as human beings. And that is such a tragedy. So I really hope that this can be a wake-up call for you to go through this evolution of yourself, a catalyst to inspire to move through your journey of life with more passion and more enthusiasm and more love, radical love for who you innately are. all of this really starts with your relationship with yourself. This relationship of who you are, the foundation of your life. And when you choose consciously to build this relationship with yourself, the door completely opens to you. You can build and have a completely new perspective on how you actually want to design and ultimately create your life. And this has been really my journey. I grew up, as I was mentioning, in just such a beautiful household in so many ways. And we're all shaped by our parents and our family. And I feel so lucky to have grown up in a very nourishing environment. And I remember, in college, I've gone through a number of transformations in my life, which I will share much more about during this podcast and through these episodes. But that, a huge point, a pivotal moment in my life was when I chose to take my first yoga teacher training. And that was 6 months into my first corporate job. And this really was this catalyst of learning this methodology of yoga, of being exposed to this whole science and breadth of ancient wisdom that really allowed me to understand who I really was as a human being, who I am, and that opened the door for this new path, this new way to move through life that has allowed me to be so much more fulfilled and loved, just alive and accepting of everything and anything that life, brings to me. And so I took my first yoga teacher training. I was simultaneously working in the corporate world. And for many years, I saw this deep sense of disconnection between these two things. I felt torn between these two worlds, torn between yoga and this ancient wisdom and this thing that was so, so sacred to me that I absolutely loved. And then the modern world, corporate, finance, business suits, big buildings, and the sexiness of that as well. And I would go back and forth and try and understand, how these two things intertwined, if at all, and whether I was kind of living a fake life because I was one person here and another there. And what I came to realize was that these two worlds are much more integrated than we actually realize. That I was in many ways creating the disconnection between the two, and I could choose to reconnect and to actually integrate. And that's really the journey that I have been on, that I continue to be on, is the integration of these two worlds. How do you take this ancient wisdom of yoga and Ayurveda and other ancient teachings and really use them as this foundation for personal development, for personal growth? And in turn, how does that actually create so much more beauty and so much more inspiration and harmony to the modern world? And so I, have found that this journey, this self-evolution of myself has actually been what has created the change in the modern world for me. It's allowed me to be more successful in my jobs and get promoted. It has allowed me to have deeper relationships with others, to be in deep partnership and connection, to feel more loved, to feel more alive, to make more money, all of those things. And I so deeply believe that it is the portal and it is this opportunity for us to actually completely change the course and the trajectory of kind of the human experience, to allow us to be in a more connected and enlightened and fulfilled place, opposed to the direction that I think it can feel like we are often heading these days, which is one of much more destruction and war and all of that. So that's really been, my personal journey with this. And I have realized again and again the innate power that resides within me and resides within you. And that power is really truly and utterly limitless. And that often we are made to feel like we're insignificant, or that, your decisions don't really matter, that the choices that you make don't really impact this big world that, we're in and that we operate in. But the truth is that they do. And that true change starts on an individual level. It starts with yourself and your choices and your choice to decide and be conscious of the direction that you are ultimately heading in your life and how you are innately here to serve the world. There will never be anyone to walk this earth exactly like you. And that is a pretty amazing kind of thing to really sit with, is that there will never be anyone ever that is exactly like you, and that you were put here for a reason. You were born in this period of time for a reason. You have an innate skill set that you are being called forth to bring into this world that we desire. And that the greatest gift that you can really give this world is to be you, is to be radically you, to be so in love with yourself and inspired by the direction that you're heading, and creating choices and action in this world that is aligned with you from that place of deep knowing within yourself. And that is what is ultimately going to create a more harmonious world. The truth of the matter is that we are also, all connected. And as I've, walked through my own journey with spirituality and just in my own life, it has become so clear that it's so hard to deny. I think it is undeniable that there is an innate connection that exists between us all. If you look into the eyes of another human being, maybe it's someone you love or your partner or a stranger, and you really look into their eyes, I think it's hard to say that there is not an innate connection that exists between the two of you. It's hard to deny that there is an innate connection that exists between you and your pet. I know when I look into the eyes of my dog Luna, I just see this immense amount of love that exists within her, and I see that reflected back into me, and I feel this innate sense of connection with her. And I can feel the same thing in nature. If I'm by the ocean or in the mountains and I just take a moment to pause and to feel, there is this force that is flowing through me that is also flowing through nature. And you can call that force whatever you want. You can call it consciousness, source, God, love, flow, whatever terminology resonates with you. But that sense of connection that exists within us all is what really shows how important you are in this greater harmony of the world, how your decisions impact the collective, and that when you begin to align yourself and to experience that innate connection that is you, that is the deepest essence of you, and embody that and feel that and tap into that limitless potential and nature that you are, the entire world opens up to you. And when we all do that, I can't really even begin to imagine what could happen, what type of world we could evolve into. So this is really the ultimate duality in life. This sense of connection that exists between us all, and this uniqueness that is inherent in you and in every single one of us. And this duality, embracing this duality, is what really, from my perspective, will allow us to create a self-revolution, an evolution, and not just ourselves, but the world at large. So the choice is yours. Will you choose to evolve to a place of more connection versus disconnection, harmony versus disharmony, love versus fear, peace versus violence? Will you choose to actually build a relationship with yourself, to choose to go down this journey of self-discovery, of self-realization. That it's not this woo-woo thing, but it is the most effective way to create radical change in your life and the world at large. And that there's not a destination, there's not a predetermined script, a place that we're looking to reach, but that it really is this journey, this continuous journey of growth, of change, of evolution, and that you and we have a choice on the direction we're going to head. And I so pray and desire that we choose to create a more harmonious, enlightened, and fulfilled world. Welcome to Self-Revolution, waking up to who the fuck you really are.